Mark, do stay with us. We have some updates coming from Britain, where Britain has sacked Peter Mandelson as US ambassador over his relationship with late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Mandelson has come under scrutiny over his relationship with the late sex offender after a birthday book was released, which allegedly included a letter from him describing Epstein as his best pal. Mandelson has since said that he deeply regrets meeting Epstein and had carried on that association for longer than he should have done. Prime Minister Starmer had earlier backed Mandelson over this statement in Parliament. Let's take a listen in.
Mr. Speaker, as she and the House would expect, full due process was followed during this appointment, as it is with all ambassadors. The ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret. He is right to do so. He's now playing an important part in the US-UK relationship.
Further emails have since been published in the media showing that Mandelson had advised Epstein to fight for early release when he faced charges over soliciting a minor. The Foreign Ministry has now announced that in the light of the new information, Prime Minister Starmer has asked the Foreign Secretary to withdraw Mandelson as the ambassador to the United States. Mark, this comes as the Starmer government goes through a major rebrand and a major reshuffle in terms of its cabinet. And then another loss, Mandelson, a hugely important piece of Starmer's government who we saw Donald Trump stand next to when he was signing that trade deal with the United States. How much is this appointment going to damage Starmer's credibility in an already losing position that he is in regards to the British public?
Well, without sounding too cynical, but it's true, if you go back through Mandelson's history, then if you had any common sense, you would never have appointed the man in the first place, because this is a man that has the celebratory of being thrown out of the Blair government, Blair cabinet twice over two incidences. This is a man also that seems to once he's around people with money and power, he then forgets how he should behave and should he have anything to do with these people. The credibility, Thomas, frankly, I think has already been lost with a number of other issues, but we won't have time to discuss those. But the credibility is lost because, as you quite rightly point out, of Mandelson's relationship with Epstein. Then emails are released, other information is then released. And this is not good at all. Mandelson yesterday was on an internet channel out of Washington going, I apologize, I realize I shouldn't have had any relationships with this particular individual. And frankly, the reason why then he is gone, it was raised in the Commons in Westminster Parliament yesterday by the Conservative opposition leader, Kemi Badenoch, who then afterwards people discussed and said she certainly skewered for once, which was good for her, Starmer for once on a particular issue, and it's the appointing of this individual. We have a problem. We then have a problem of who we are then appointing to do very, very important jobs. Can they actually do the job? What about their history? What about their credibility? And Starmer has now been caught out with his trousers down, frankly, on this issue, and should have taken the advice that most probably some people may have given him, which was to never have gone through Mandelson in the first place. But I'll end with this: the point most probably was to get him over there, thinking that he could then wine and dine and smooze the Trump administration. But before he came, there were one or two people who are very wise to these things, and the Trump administration raising the fact that Mr.
Yes.
Mandelson has a past and he has relationships with people that are questionable. Thomas.
Mark Sutherland, thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure to talk to you. We now move on and over to South Asia, where tensions flared for the second day outside the Nepali Army headquarters in Badarakali as Gen Z protesters remained divided over who should lead the interim government. Rival factions supporting former Chief Justice Shinshula Karki and Kathmandu Mayor Balan Shah clashed outside the army complex, while supporters of Dharan Mayor Harka Sampang also joined the fray. The protests, sparked by a short-lived social media ban and long-standing grievances over corruption, nepotism and unemployment, have left over 30 people dead and forced the escape of more than 13,500 prisoners nationwide. We have further news coming out of Nepal. Meanwhile, the president of the country, Ramchandra Pudel, said that he is working to end the crisis that has hit the Himalayan nation after deadly protests this week removed the Prime Minister and left Parliament in flames. He further asked all parties to remain confident that a solution is being sought quickly to address the demands of the protesting citizens.